Okay, on page 60 of the book, we start a section on development of a sense of self. This whole section right here, I'm going to spend a lot of time on because we need to understand why students act the way they do, what they do, that socialization concept, everything intertwines. So I want us to understand why students, what makes students act the way they do it from time to time. So a sense of self is your perceptions, beliefs, judgments, and feelings about who you are as a person. It's built by those parenting skills. It's built by that socialization. Its experiences in life. All those things become to be a factor. Can you see why parenting styles is so important in upbringing a child? Because that's truly the inner core in what the child inevitably becomes. Many psychologists distinguish between two aspects of the sense of self: self-concept, the assessment of one's own characteristics, strengths, and weaknesses, and then self-esteem, which is the judgments and feelings about one's own value and worth. We're going to find young children tend to make distinctions between two general domains: how competent they are at day-to-day tasks, and how well they are liked by family and friends. And those things matter. Certain thing. I remember in preschool, Sarah was in preschool, and she came out of the womb matching things. I mean, she is the style and profiler in our household. If anybody wants to know if something they have on can be worn out in public, they go ask Sarah. But anyway, there was a little girl there who, one of the days the mom came, I was running the preschool at the time, and one of the mothers came in, and she said, Caroline's out in the car crying. And I thought it was the separation anxiety thing, and I said, oh, I'll just go get her, everything will be fine. And she said, no, it's not that she doesn't want to leave me. She said, there's a little girl here that keeps telling her that her hair bow doesn't match. Well, I knew exactly who that was. So I scanned the crowd for Sarah, made eye contact with her. She met me in one of the back rooms, and I was like, stop telling Caroline that her hair bows don't match. And she said, but Mom, surely she doesn't want to be running around here all day with her hair bow not matching her outfit. Sarah, no one asked you to be the police of the hair bows, so do not say another word about her hair bow. Well, see, Caroline, her self-esteem was way low because Sarah had made her worry about whether she was matching or not. Well, that particular day, Caroline finally came in, and it's a funny thing. She almost went distinctively toward where Sarah was standing, and eventually says, "So Sarah, does my hair bow match today?" And Sarah just smiled and said, "Yes, you look nice." And then looked at me with a look of, you know I'm lying to her, right? Those moments, even Sarah was 3 and Caroline was 4 at the time, that affects, I mean, it's funny how that young of a child can affect the other child's full day. I remember another time I had been at home raising babies, and I started back to work, and one of the jobs I had was right here at Walter State doing an adjunct position. It was in the spring semester, so it was in January. I hadn't been out in the classroom for several years, and I was quite nervous about it, so I had picked out a nice outfit, a cute outfit, a little skirt, plaid skirt, red, black, and white plaid skirt, and had on a red sweater, and pulled a pair of boots on it. And as Sarah, then 3, popped up the steps, and she said, "Surely you're not going to wear those boots with that outfit?" And I said, "Well, yes." And she said, "Well, they don't match." She went on in her room. And when she headed out, I said, "Sarah, why don't they match? They just don't look right." So she went on downstairs, and I do what any normal mom would do. I went into the closet, I picked out another pair of shoes, and I had one on one foot and one on the other. Rusty was already gone to work, so I'm standing in front of the mirror trying to decide. And then it dawned on me, she's 3 years old. I'm 30-something. Really? She's going to dictate what a 30-something-year-old woman wears? So I put the original boot back on, headed downstairs, and I said, "Let's go, guys." And as we're heading at the door, Sarah didn't say anything, but she gave me that look of, oh, I can't believe my mother's wearing that out. Well, when I dropped the kids off and came on into Walter State for my first day of class, walked in the room, And the whole time I felt like people were staring at my feet. I found myself hiding behind the teacher's desk so people would know my boots didn't match. I allowed a 3-year-old to ruin my first day of teaching just because of something she said. It happens at any age, at all ages, if we allow it to. As kids get older, children make finer and finer distinctions. For instance, they realize they may be more or less competent or good in various academic subjects, athletic activities, peer relationships, and physical attractiveness. We all remember going through that middle school stage where all the pimples, all of the odd growth time where everything seemed to be out of proportion, awkward times. Children and adolescents tend to behave in ways that mirror their beliefs about themselves. If a child is confident, it will come across as such. When a child is not, you know exactly, you know when that is as well. If they see themselves as good students, they're more likely to pay attention, follow directions, persist at difficult problems, and enroll in challenging courses. If they see themselves as friendly and socially desirable, they're more likely to seek the company of their classmates and perhaps run for student council. If they see themselves as physically competent, they're more eagerly pursue extracurricular athletics. Now, right the opposite true if any of those, if they do not feel confident, if they do not have high self-esteem, all that's going to be for naught. They won't try any of those things. It'll be quite the opposite, and you'll be able to notice that right off the bat. Text me a time that you have. Text me when your most difficult fitting in time was. When was your most difficult fitting in time? Elementary, middle, or high school, or maybe even college? I'm waiting.